Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been so long. I want to apologize to everyone. I know the last series of videos I think I did was Frankenstein and everything. I am just swamped with work. Everything that happened with 2020 and on, trying to get stuff done, trying to get parts in here. It has been a nightmare. So I want to thank everyone, all my subscribers. Hopefully we get some new subscribers. We've got a whole new project here lined up. What we have here is a 67 GTO, kind of falling along the same lines as Frankenstein with hidden issues, hidden rust, bad prior repairs. And as we go through this series, in a little bit here, I'll cut the camera here and walk around the car and give you an overview, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Kind of the same deal here. Where do I stop? you say that over and over again, and in this business, you start cutting stuff off, you start finding more, and in reality, you know, if you're gonna tear a car apart this much, there's no other way to do it than to do it the right way. And as I said with Frankenstein, the motto in my shop is, if it's not getting done right, it's not getting done here. If I get halfway through or a quarter of the way through, or just like you can see here, we've got quarters off, we're doing a bunch of work on this car, and then I start finding more problems. If the customer doesn't want to fix those problems, well, I'm not going to be the guy to finish it, because too many of those cars end up coming into my shop and I have to fix other people's mess ups. And I'm being nice with my language, but you can't imagine some of the stuff I've seen. Just because you think you know how to weld doesn't mean you should. Unibody cars, don't ever use fiberglass or Bondo. You know, frame cars, you use full gauge sheet metal on when you're working on chassis. I could go on forever. That could be a whole nother series of videos, so I won't bore you with that stuff. But back to what we have, 1967 GTO. If I'm not mistaken, it's been in this family for over 25 years. So there's a sentimental value attached to it, which is why we're putting the money into this. Before all you guys start hating on this and start saying, what are you spending all that money for? What are you tearing this car apart like that for? You can buy one cheaper. You're absolutely right. You can buy one of these done, jump in and drive it for a lot cheaper than what these guys are going to have in this car. But there's one thing you won't have. This car has sentimental value to the family. And if you sell it or you junk it and you replace it with something else, you no longer have that sentimental value. So who is it for me or anybody else to judge what someone chooses to do with their money? It's their money. They can do what they want with it. Anyway, I'm done with my speech there, but again, 67 GTO needs a lot of work. Came in thinking we just needed some floor patches, some quarter panel patches, some little work here and there. Most of you know the GTOs will rot out around the back window here. We kind of suspected a little bit of that. But let me tell you, when we got into this car, it has snowballed into a monster. And at this point, we need to get it done. To stop now with the money that's been spent, it wouldn't be a good thing to do. Cutting your losses on something like this, when you're this far into it, we might as well finish it. And like I said, there's sentimental value to this car, and they'll always have it. Now a lot of it's going to be cut off. As you can see, I've got new wheelhouses mocked in place here. We're going to be doing a lot, full trunk, full floor, a whole bunch of stuff, repairing everything around the window. And as I mentioned, I'm going to get the camera here in a little bit, and we'll go around the car and I'll show you all that stuff. But one thing I hope I emphasize with, I'm pretty sure I kind of did with Frankenstein, and I'm going to do it again with this. It's great that they make these panels. You can see we have a new inner and outer wheelhouse here, and I think they even sell these now as a welded assembly. Just because they make them doesn't mean they fit. And these, while they're close, they're not 100%. I'll show you with the camera in a little bit what I'm talking about. One side is definitely not the same as the other. And these are all made by the same manufacturer. So just like Frankenstein, same manufacturer, a left and a right. Why they can't mirror image a piece, why they can't copy the same parameters, I don't know. You know, It's one of the great mysteries of life. But anyway, you can see I've got a lot of work to do here. This whole back is coming off. And when I grab the camera, we'll go around and I'll show you. But I'm gonna really try to emphasize on this car, unlike I couldn't do with the Frankenstein. With Frankenstein, the customer just he couldn't financially go any farther with the car. We knew it was going to turn into a monster, and it probably would have ended up being worse than this had I dug into it deeper. And as I mentioned, if I uncover it, I'm fixing it, whether you like it or not. And if you're not going to pay me to fix it, you're taking your car out of here, and that's it. You can pay somebody else to fix it. But anyway, this car is going to go way farther than Frankenstein. This will be done to completion. Kind of what's been done so far. The whole bottom of the car has been done as far as the chassis. All the chassis work's done, brake lines, fuel lines. I do have to rebuild the rear, but the engine's been freshened up, all cleaned, all suspension, shocks, brakes, it's all done. So it's a good platform. We're starting with a good foundation, now we have to build up from there. With the rust I found in some of the bracing and some of the areas around the car, we just decided it was better off to replace the entire floor instead of patching it, and replace the entire trunk instead of patching it. I'm going to try to save the tail panel here because this is original to the car. We'll see. If we can get that off and we don't find any problems with it, we'll use it. But anyway, like I said, a lot of repair work has to be done around the rear window. This entire rear filler panel has to come off, as well as the panel underneath. So as you see these videos go through, all of a sudden you're going to see this car with nothing back here. And that's kind of something I want to touch on. I see it all over the internet, in forums, guys putting pictures on videos and whatnot. They take their car, and they immediately hack off all the rusted panels. They cut everything off the car. And if you would do that on this car, you would see there would be nothing from this portion of the car back. There'd be nothing here. The problem with that is, if you don't take measurements and brace the car properly, I've got brace welded here to keep the car from springing outwards when I cut this off. I've got tons of measurements. I mocked the wheelhouses in place so I could get a preliminary location for my trunk supports. There's a lot of stuff you have to do. And I think what I've noticed is a lot of guys, you know, you're hacking all this metal off and you're thinking, let's just get it out of the way. And hell, they make these panels, they go right on. Your car's going to be all over the place. You're going to find panels won't fit right. You're going to be moving this, cutting that, doing this, doing that. All because, again, 9.5 times out of 10, replacement panels don't fit right. And if your car's ever been wrecked, even OEM, NOS parts won't fit right. So you've got to really take your time. I've got a notebook over there with a ton of measurements in it. Take your time, take measurements. I put these in place, as I said, so that I could get my position marked. These are marked as well around where they're going to go. And I can cut all this out, set all the new stuff back in, and then I know what position these have to be in now because I have it marked and measured and everything else. And they won't be welded in place. Another thing, don't weld anything in place until you've had every panel on here mocked up. So I'll have the new trunk in, the new wheelhouse is in, the new deck filler and under support. All that stuff's going to be in here. The tail panel will be back on it. I'll have trunk drops on it. I'll have the new replacement quarter panels fit. The trunk will be on it. I'll have everything gapped and nothing will be attached to the car. This is why this is so expensive. This is the thing. It takes a long time to do this. There's a lot of mock-up. It has to be done this way. So I will mock everything up, gap everything, mark everything. I use Clecos, self-tapping screws. I'll put 1/8" pinholes so I can use alignment dowels on certain panels so that when I line things back up, they kind of go together right before I weld. And then you can go from there. Don't weld anything until you've had the entire car mocked up. On this here, since I now have these on, I'm going to go ahead and start removing all of this, so when we get to the next series of videos, you'll see the back of this thing. There's not going to be anything back here, and we'll go through, hopefully step by step, of how I do this, how I mark everything, I'm sure I'm gonna find more up in here. As we're doing this video, I'm looking up and I can see up in this area here. We got some more repair work, so. Anyway, thanks for your patience, guys. I know it's been a while. 67 GTO is the new project. Hopefully we get a bunch of new subscribers. You guys learned something. This isn't difficult work to do. Anybody can tackle it as long as you have patience, good knowledge of how things work, and when you think you're over your head, stop and seek professional help. Don't continue on if you're not sure how to do something. Find out from a professional, because I have had cars come in here that at one time in their life were professionally restored and they were an absolute mess. So anyway, I'm going to cut the video. Thanks for watching. We'll come back. I'll do a walk around to the car. I'll show you what we're talking about and kick off this project. Thanks, guys.